Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. All right, we are live. I'm Tom Benty. This is Tom Benty Media. I have an opportunity to interview really interesting and cool people that I know. Tonight, I'm interviewing my good friend, actor, father, husband, great American, Nicholas E. Calhoun.
Ooh.
And
I'm interesting and cool.
great guy all around. I've known Nick for some time now. And I'm always impressed with Nick's acting career and his acting ability. And Nick had a really great role on Boardwalk Empire a few years ago, I think 2014. He actually went to the SAG Awards.
Yeah.
And it was a really great experience. So Nick, why don't you just tell us a little bit about Boardwalk and how you got the role and about the role itself?
It was really interesting. It was the third time I had auditioned for Boardwalk Empire, and ironically, the second time I canceled. I was on vacation with my family, and we were a day in, and I got an audition, and I decided to fly home for the audition and kill my entire vacation with my family. I did not get that role, but I ended up auditioning a couple months later for a much larger role, which I didn't know was a larger role. So I went in there under the impression it was a possible chance of recurring. I auditioned, I booked the role, I was in wardrobe, and someone said, "Oh, this is Nucky's new bodyguard." I had no idea I was playing Nucky's new bodyguard.
Wow.
I booked the role, knew I was scheduled to film. So my first day on set, I had no idea what was happening other than the fact that I was working that day, a couple other days after that, and then I would be in the first episode or the second episode of that season.
Very cool.
Yeah, a couple weeks later, hey, you're in the next episode. Hey, you're in the next episode. Hey, you're in the next episode. And I'm going, okay, what's happening here? Like, I'm in the season now.
So wait, when you first got the role, you did not know that this was a recurring role?
I knew there was a chance of it recurring, which to me is code for don't screw this up. So I went in there and I said, okay, I have a couple lines to deliver. If I say the words right, well, maybe I'll come back.
And that's common in TV where they give a new actor a chance to see if it works out.
Much more common now, because now they kind of bait you into taking a smaller role with the possibility of having a larger role.
Okay.
Back then, it was more like, we're writing our script, we'd like to have you around, but we need to have an out in case things don't work out. So having a possible recurring was that. Possibly you'll be back, possibly you won't. Every episode, you're technically let go, and the next episode, you're technically rehired.
Gotcha. So you played Nucky's bodyguard.
Yeah, Sean.
Sean. And what was your most favorite scene to play as the bodyguard to Nucky?
Oh God, I guess for me when I got killed, only because there was like high action. We had to jump through a window and do all this stunt stuff, and it was just a good cast and crew. I mean, Steve Buscemi wasn't there that day, but I got to work after the day on my character got killed because we were still filming scenes from before that scene. But I just think that was the most like fun, exciting day I had. But I think the first day, the first day on set. So my first day of filming, we shot on location. My first day on set was out of you picture what Hollywood is as a kid, and then you step into it. I stepped into this set of a 1940s nightclub, a 2-story nightclub they built in the middle of the Brooklyn Navy Yards, and it was breathtaking. I mean, it was 2 floors, every single detail meticulous. I'm looking around going, somebody built this entire thing. And then you could walk up the stairs to the balcony of this nightclub, and there's the second floor, and it's completely built out as well. I mean, it was unbelievable, and it was just like a kid in a candy store. And then you throw in the extras, and you throw in the $1 million camera, and you just go, like, now it finally worked.
I made it.
Yeah, like it finally worked. Like I never thought I made it. I still don't think I made it. I don't know if I'll ever think I made it, because I'm always looking to the future. But it was almost like this is always what I dreamed of, and I was so happy to be there and being with guys like Steve Buscemi and Paul Calderon, Paul Sparks. They're so nice, and it was so humbling to be with guys who worked on Pulp Fiction. Paul Calderon worked on Pulp Fiction. Paul Sparks was this crazy Mickey Doyle role, who was just perfect in a character. Out of character, he was just a normal guy from New York, And
he wasn't like a method actor who's always in character.
No,
He
came out and he was Paul, and then all of a sudden, action, he's Mickey Doyle, and he was just a different guy, and it was great. And Steve Buscemi's the same way. Steve Buscemi was the perfect actor I could have worked with. I never saw the man with the script in his hand. I never saw him ask for a line. I never saw him do multiple takes for himself. He did everything for the cast, the crew, and the project.
So from a technical standpoint, Buscemi was always on point. Knew
Always
his
on
lines,
point.
knew his
his
blocking.
lines. He's a consummate professional. He is one of the best people in 15 years I've been working that I've ever seen work. He knew everybody's name on set. He treated everyone with respect, but he was always prepared. It was so weird to me because his lines were pretty verbose and never like, a lot of guys pull our scripts out in the middle of our take and go, sorry, or we have a script supervisor that's always there. What was that line? He was, I got it. Always knew where he was supposed to be. Always on time.
And that's kind of unique because a lot of times the stars are the ones that are most need of the script supervisor.
You're
and
getting
like
8, 9, 10 pages, the night before you're filming. So technically your job is to leave set, drive home, take a shower, and start memorizing 9 more pages. So you have 3 hours, 4 hours before you go to bed to learn 9 pages of script for the next day. Yeah. He's walking in like all he had to do was download it. It was.
And most people don't know that side of the business, like that of work ethic and putting the time in to know the lines, know how the character responds, and things like that.
I recently worked with James Spader, and the same thing. He had a 5-minute monologue, and in rehearsals, he messed it up once and apologized to everybody. Hey, guys, sorry about that. And I'm going, sorry about that? You somehow know every single line, and his character talks in riddles. So to me, I'm looking at him going, it's what I want to do. Like I want other actors to look at me one day and go, how does he do it? And I'm looking at him going, how did you do it? And when he apologized, I was like, now I like you even more because you're crazy for apologizing. You're literally perfect at what you do. And because you don't know this one line at this one moment, you're apologizing. But it's the type of people I think in Hollywood, you don't hear enough stories about the kind people in Hollywood, which is all I seem to run into.
And that's maybe the reason why James Spader is the star and Steve Buscemi is the star is because they really put the time in. They know how to approach a character. They know how to approach a script. And they're just really good at it. Yeah,
you always hear about like Clint Eastwood. He only hires people that really know what they're doing and know how to be professional and know how to get things on the first take. Hollywood doesn't have much time to mess around. There's a lot of moving parts.
Cool.
So you got to kind of know what you're doing.
So how do you, approach a script? Is it simply a matter of just memorizing the lines? I mean, how do you approach the characters? How do you become the bodyguard? How do you become all these different characters that you've played?
I like to memorize the words and then add the character. So to me, once I can get past the words, the character kind of falls into place. I start thinking, okay, not too much in the realm of like Daniel Day-Lewis, where I'm going, I am Abraham Lincoln, but going, what would Sean the bodyguard do? What would this guy do in this situation? What would this guy do in this situation? The lines are there and they're all in the dialogue, but there's so much more involved with being a character, and you have to figure out what's right and what's wrong in that character. So I kind of get past the biggest roadblock, which is the words.
The words. First,
first and foremost, especially when I'm never the lead, I'm always the co-star, so I have to make sure that my lines are perfect because the star is not going to put up with me. So I deal with that first, and then I go, let's experiment. And usually through that experimentation comes something that I go, oh, I didn't see that when I first started doing that. And then you get on set and the director goes, no, you're supposed to be kind. Oh, okay. And now you're like on the spot and you have to do it over and you have to change your entire attitude. But that's just a part of the challenge, which is the beauty of acting. Like, you never really know. Sometimes I do stuff and people go, why'd you do that? Why'd you button your jacket? I'm like, somebody pulled me aside and told me to do that. It was stupid because I did it the scene before. And I should have known that. I should have told that person that I shouldn't do it. But you do it.
because each aspect of the scene, whether you're buttoning your jacket or whatever, is all dependent on the next take, and everything has to fit.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. A lot of people who aren't in the business don't understand is that when you're doing a scene, you're doing multiple takes, but technically everything has to remain the same. So if my first take, something falls in my eye and I go like this, technically I have to do that every take unless I ask the director, I did this, but that was an accident. Are we going to keep any of that? And if they say, well, we don't know, keep it. Because listen, that is the beauty of movie making. When something happens that's unnatural, it could seem like it's the best part of your acting because it wasn't natural. Yeah. It's something that, oh God, that looks so like it.
And that's where the truth is.
Well, that's where all the truth is. Somebody once told me a story about reindeer games, and he goes, there's a scene where a guy walks into the woods and takes a piss, and he goes, he finishes his piss and he shakes. He goes, that guy was definitely taking a piss. He goes, because that's what people do. He goes, you finish pissing in the woods, you kind of like you shake, you get it out. He goes, and if he wasn't really taking a piss, God, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. He's like, that guy was acting perfectly. Yeah. And that's kind of like what I want to do is find those like little things where those moments.
Those little nuances, the moments where it works and it brings something to light about the story and the character.
Exactly. Brings something different.
So why did you get into acting? How did you get into acting? And how's the journey been?
I mean, it's such a cliche, but I've just always felt like there was something.
Since you were a kid?
Yeah. There's just like this weird like necessity for performance. And it used to be on like a comedic level. Like I always wanted to make people laugh. And then I started realizing I didn't really want to make people laugh. I wanted to make people feel, which I still love comedy and I still want to do comedy. But I really like evoking emotions from people through acting. And I think even as a kid, I always like had this weird feeling that I was destined to do that for people. I want people to kind of be able to check out of their minds, just watch us,
cool,
enjoy, and for a moment, for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours at this point, to just be able to enjoy what they're watching. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Cool. And so that's your inspiration from a kid, but like how did you actually take that stuff? How did you turn that dream into something real and tangible?
That's a long story, but long story short, when I went to college, I kind of started trying to when I was in high school, I was acting, but I was kind of afraid of what the stigma of acting was. Like it was a silly job to have.
I didn't know you were acting in high school.
Yeah, because you wouldn't know, because the one play I was in, I ended up getting thrown out.
At St. Joe's?
Yeah, because I threw an paper airplane.
Not another time.
Yeah. Christmas Carol. That was on my resume, though.
I had no idea. Yeah. I had no idea you acted at St. Joe's.
And when I wasn't acting, I was actually doing stuff, the stagehand stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I did that for a long time. And then I went to college, and I kind of the same thing. Like I took a lot of acting classes, but all of like my electives were acting classes, and I was like a closeted actor, like afraid to tell people I wanted to be a professional actor, because I honestly just thought it was like telling somebody I want to be a professional baseball player. Like they'd go, "That's silly," you could never do that.
Yeah.
So I kind of just like stayed quiet with it and kept it like in my my closet, and said to myself, eventually I'll be a grown man and have my own decisions, and I'll make my own decisions. And I got out of college and literally graduated on a Friday, and Monday I took a job, or before that I took the job and started on a Monday. And I was kind of knee deep in the corporate world, and always like asking questions to everybody like that was in. My sister was a singer, and she had friends that were actors, and I was like, where do they get their jobs from? Oh, what's backstage? Like, oh, how do you show up to? Oh, what do you do that? Oh, But I was always afraid to do anything. I also lived in South Jersey, so there
was nothing going on there.
I couldn't take a day off to go to an audition, so I kind of just like kept that in my mind, going, I wanted to do this, and then it started going like, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do this, and then I started having this like, but life is short. Like, why is it I wanted to when it could be I am doing it? And then one day I was working like super late at my job, and I had a really bad like chest pains, and I was on the phone with my girlfriend at the time, and who's now my wife, and I was like, I'm having like really, really bad chest pains. I said, my arm's like tingling. And she's like, it sounds like you're having a heart attack. I said, I know, but I'm not. And I had heart problems in the past. So I was like, I'm not. I know that. She's like, maybe you're having an anxiety attack. I was working like 20-hour days at this point. I mean, I was like, I was a little weird when it came to the corporate world. I said, maybe, but the big job that I had to finish is finished. I just finished it. Like, that's why I came home now, like whatever it was, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And, I said, let me go downstairs, get a glass of water, and I'll call you back once I get it. So I went downstairs, I got a glass of water, I called her back. I was halfway up the stairs, and I couldn't make it up the stairs. Oof. Yeah. So I said, something's wrong, something's really wrong. She's like, go to the hospital. So luckily I lived with a guy, and I knocked on his door, and I said, hospital. He put me in a car, he ran through red lights and got me to the hospital, and for 2 days they had no idea what was wrong. Jeez. So for like 2 days I kind of had this like weird epiphany where I was like, wow, can you imagine if this is it? Like, my entire dream was to be an actor, and I gave that dream up for money and material possessions. So I started going, this isn't anything I ever wanted to do. This is just something I decided to do for money, and I didn't want to do that. And I promised myself if I got out, I was going to quit, and I was going to pursue acting. Lucky for me, my boss made it pretty easy because he was a... So I went in there to tell him, I quit. And he read me a new one and basically told me that I make way too much money to quit, and he knew I just bought a house, and I was only 21 or 22 at the time. I kind of just said, well, I'll figure all that out. Mm-hmm. And before that, I actually called my wife and my girlfriend and my dad, who in the past had been like, you make good money. I know you're not happy, but you're not supposed to be that happy at work. Yeah. And I was kind of like, you're right. And I called them before I quit, and I said, yeah, I'm quitting. And my girlfriend, who's now my wife, said, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Literally called my dad, and he goes, yeah, I think it's a good idea. So I was like, okay. Here's a two, reasonable people in my life. I knew I was going to marry my girlfriend at the time eventually, and obviously my father, I respect most out of anybody in the world in terms of decision making. I said, if they agree, then let's do it. Yeah. So I literally went to the office and quit, and he belittled me, and I gave him my 2 weeks, and that was it. Ironically, I went on to backstage, and Saturday was an audition for a play. I didn't really know the world of acting or what. It was an audition for a play in Suffern, New York, which, if anyone knows, it's an hour out of Manhattan. And my aunt lives there, and I happened to be going there Saturday to see her. So I was like, well, while I'm there, if I could get an audition, I'll get an audition. It was for the role of Aide in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah, a fill-in role. Last-minute replacement. I think I said 2 lines.
So you got the part?
So I went there, got the part. Ended up staying with her for 2 months.
Wow.
Which, I think I thanked her enough, but I should really thank her again. But it gave me the bug. It also helped me meet people and learn things from the people that were in that play.
And then that
it also made me realize how bad I was. Yeah. Acting to the world seems easy. Oh, all you gotta do is say your lines. It's easy. No, I was walking across stage going, hey there, shouldn't you be sleeping? And people were after that performance, people were like, you were great. And then 5 years later, I watched the tape back, and I'm like, what? Why was everyone lying to me? Why would you lie to somebody like that? But either way, through there I met somebody who I met somebody. I auditioned for a short film.
And then that's where it started. It's that play, 2 lines, Suffer New York, but you got the bug, and you learned just what this takes. What is this industry? And that play was that for you?
Yeah. Well, I also learned from them. It's not going to be that easy. My co-star, the lead of that play, was, a 40-something-year-old female who was amazing, and she had one credit. She was on Law and Order. To this day, I still have not been on Law and Order. So I was like, yeah, I know this isn't going to be an easy trek, but let's do it.
Let's try.
Let's. I mean, what's the worst that happens? I thought I was dying.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, what's the worst that could happen? I could die.
And that just puts everything in perspective. That moment in that hospital room.
Yeah, obviously my perspective has changed since then. I have 2 kids now. I have a wife. So now it's, now it's not like I can give up everything, go sleep in my car to pursue acting.
And it's not just about you. It's about your family.
Well, yeah. Now it's only, I mean, I've always put myself behind many people, but obviously now I'm, I'm fourth in line behind my kids and my wife. But it's something, again, my wife once asked me, like, would you ever give up acting? And I said, if I gave up acting, I'd resent you guys for the rest of my life. I said, and I don't want that, and you don't want that.
And how did she respond?
She goes, I would never ask you to do it. I think she knows.
I mean,
she's amazing. I mean, listen, anybody who stays with somebody who's pursuing this pipe dream is amazing. I'm lucky enough where I've had credits and opportunities to be on TV and do films and produce my own stuff. And, I'm in the project with you coming up. I'm not giving her a reason to doubt me, and I'm not giving myself a reason to doubt me. So every opportunity is me going, okay, closer. And again, 5 years ago, I thought Boardwalk Empire was the next step, and it just being just another step.
But it's all. Don't you think it's all just another step? I mean, is there really ever like an end? I mean, even if you get the Oscar, I mean, it's always about what's next. It's always about the next project, the next character.
You don't realize that until you finally are in a van with stars and you hear them having the same exact conversations with you as you and your friends. I've had conversations with my friends where I go, oh God, I don't know if that was good enough. I really wish they would have given me another take. And then I've been in a van with 2 giant stars I won't name drop, and they had the same conversation. Oh, I really wish I would have had one more take. I don't know. Do you think it was good? I thought it was good. I thought it was, oh my God, I hope it was. And I'm going, this is funny. Yeah. Your life will be self-doubt because you're never going to do every single...
Bloop. We're still going.
Like, you're never going to do every single take, every single movie's going to be right, every single thing's going to be the best thing you've ever done.
Isn't that part of the industry, that part of the art, what keeps you going is that there is no end, that there's always a different way to do it, there's no right or wrong?
It's a beautiful thing, but I also imagine with a $20 million movie contract role comes the ease of freedom so that you could act.
Yeah.
Like, for us at my level, everything is still about getting your next job. I have to do good so that I get my next job. Boardwalk Empire, every episode was, I have to do good so I can get the next episode. And then it was, I have to do good so that this producer calls me again after this season. And then even after the SAG Awards, it's like, I hope they remember me from the SAG Awards, and it's like always, that I need to be present and relevant so that somebody else likes me, which I hate the ideology behind that, but that's the reality.
Gotcha.
Without people wanting to see you,
that's what you have to do.
Yeah, no one's going to see you.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about your upcoming projects. I know you were just in Blacklist, correct? And you played a really cool role. If you'd mind talking about that, and then maybe you can talk a little bit about the project you're in with me. We got it coming up in the coming part in 2019. So
I did Blacklist. I played Joe, bank robber. I was just in Power. I played this guy J.P. Asher, which was just this Connecticut drug dealer. But I got to duke it out at 50 Cent. He was a really, really sweet dude. I'm doing this project now called Even the Score, which I'm executive producer on. And lead actor in, which is turning out to be amazing. The cast and crew are amazing. And then 2019, kicking off American Benefactor, obviously with you as the lead, Mike, me as the co-star playing Anthony. I'm really looking forward to that because it's almost like the angel devil story.
Exactly.
Of the world. You're a guy who's setting up the world to benefit themselves and you're helping the world, whereas I'm the guy pointing out all the negatives, which I think is so relevant now.
Yeah.
in America, pointing out, there's always the guy who's going, oh, I understand you just gave away that, but why'd you have to do that in order to give it away? And trying to find the negative and all the positive.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I think it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too. We'll be talking about that much more in the coming weeks. But yeah, I mean, obviously great to have you on board. Very talented, exceptional
Thank
actor.
you.
So, but yeah, I think this was a nice little talk. I hope the audience got something out of it. We heard from a really great actor, and you can check him out on what's the
We have the same blue shirt.
We do. We have the same blue shirt, and that was not planned. We just have the same taste in shirts, I guess. But you have something coming out in January, right? That's going to be on TV.
Yeah, January 3rd, Blacklist episode 6, the season 6, episode 1. I'm in the first 10 minutes of that episode.
All right, cool.
So check it out, NBC. It's on Thursday night for January 3rd, and then from here on out, it'll be Fridays at 10 after Blind Spot, which is another show I was on.
Very good. You can check out all your work at, what's your website?
NickCalhoun.com.
NickCalhoun.com. All right, any final words, Nick?
No, thank you very much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
All right, let's hit the bar, Miller's.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. All right, thanks for tuning in. We'll have more episodes in the coming months. Thank you.
Cheers.